Hello. Uh, Here we are, back with what I think will become episode 5 of Silence Isn't Strength. Been a long time since I last recorded anything, and mostly for very good reason. But I must first of all try to address what has gone out there so far, and then why the big gap, and then then whatever comes next, I suppose. So first of all, for those of you that were maybe less aware, I tried to make it clear, but I don't necessarily think I did the best job. The first 4 videos that I recorded, the first 4 episodes, if you like, of what I've called Silence Isn't Strength, were recorded in 2017 during a period that I was off work, very, very ill. I was off work for a total of 97 days, and but I was ill for a lot longer before that, and I'm still very much recovering now, although I would say I'm doing incredibly well. There's still a lot of recovery happening. So I just wanted to address that because I think some people that watched may have thought that that was current, like that was happening right now. I did put in the descriptions in the videos on YouTube that it was happening before, and when I posted to Facebook, I was referring back. But I know that the people that knew a bit about my story anyway would recognise that this was from 2017, or from a couple of years ago. But others that were viewing, others that had come to it or had been directed to it from elsewhere, that maybe people that are not so much in my life might not have been aware that they were recorded during a very, very difficult period of my life. And that's not where I am now, which is good. That's a really good thing, and I'll speak more about that in a minute. What I did want to do, first of all, though, is just acknowledge the overwhelming response to me sharing my story, or sharing my experiences mental health with mental health. I mean, all feedback has been positive, but some of it's also really got me thinking. But first of all, I just want to take some time to thank everyone that reached out to me, either through Facebook, lots of really positive, affirming messages on the videos, on the links, and uh, but also I really want to thank out to those that reached out to me personally, either through sending me direct messages. I'm not going to mention names on here because it's not their stories and not my stories to tell. But to those of you who got in contact to share something of what you were going through right now, and how much my words had meant to you and spoken to you, and how understood that helped you feel, was just amazing. For me, it was absolutely amazing that what I'd recorded had reached you, and that you'd felt touched by it, or empowered by it, or supported by it, to the point where even maybe we'd not spoken for years in some cases. Not through any fallout, just purely lives going in different directions. We're not really in each other's worlds anymore. But you took the time to watch what I had to say, and it connected with something in you, and you reached back out to me. And that was, for me, that was huge. Absolutely. I mean, I was so proud of it, of everyone that was able to do that. And there were quite a few of you that did, and it just meant so much to me that you were able to even going through what you might be going through right now, you were able to offer me that support as well, and um, being able to kind of acknowledge what you're going through and the difficulties that you're facing, and the fact that a lot of people don't really they want to understand, they want to support, they're in your lives and they want to help, and but sometimes even some of the people that are so close to us just don't get it. They just don't quite get it. And as I'm sure I said before on an earlier video, that it's a difficult thing. It's a double-edged sword, because through a lot of conversations that I've had with people, often the people that really get it are the people who've experienced it. So when someone doesn't get it, you're almost glad for them, because you don't want them to have gone through what you've gone through to gain the perspective that you've got. But really, I mean, the message here is just thank you. Thank you to anyone, whether you just watched and you didn't acknowledge that you'd watched, or whether you watched and you liked a video, subscribed to the YouTube channel, commented publicly on Facebook, commented privately through a message service, or sent me a text. And to those of you who saw me in public, because some people didn't reach out to me digitally, because they had the benefit of being in my life now, being, geographically, they were likely to see me within a few days, and so they just said, look, they came to me, look, I've not put a thing on your wall, I've not sent you a message, because I knew I would see you, and I just wanted to offer you my support, and to say, I mean, a lot of people, the words they've used have been how kind of proud they are, how brave they feel I've been, and how important it was that I shared the messages that I did. And it's that last point that's really hit home for me, because the reason that I have shared them now, even though they were recorded, a couple of years ago, is because I just wasn't ready. I just wasn't strong enough in myself, because I didn't know what the response would be to them, and I didn't know what I wanted this response to be to my videos, and I didn't know how I would handle whatever that response was, whether it was overwhelmingly positive, overwhelmingly negative, or overwhelmingly indifferent. I think for me the biggest worry was that just no one would take any notice at all, and it wouldn't help anyone, and it would just be me shouting into a void. Because really, all my only intention was to try and generate some more discussion around mental health, and whilst not specifically male mental health, I know that there, as I said in my first video, there's very little out there discussing mental health, or male mental health, and especially it's not acknowledged amongst males. And so, whilst I was in the midst of what I was going through, my depression, stress, and anxiety, it became really apparent that there was very little there from a male perspective. There was still a lot of bravado, there was still a lot of boys don't cry type attitudes, there's still a lot of men apologising for having emotions. But at the time that I was looking for support, looking for understanding, trying to understand myself, there was just nothing there, or what was there was really hard to find. So even though it was incredibly difficult to record some of the videos that I recorded, it was incredibly difficult to record all of them, but just some more than others, the whole while it felt like, not that it was important, but that it could be. It could be important for some people down the line. And again, I'm not going to share names or stories of other people, but over the last 2 years, the videos initially sat on my phone, the phone on which they were recorded. Eventually, they got moved to YouTube, but YouTube Unlisted, which, if you don't know what that is, that's basically you upload your video to YouTube, but it can't be found without a specific link. So if you searched for it, you wouldn't find it. And for me, it was simply a way of keeping the videos, the 4 that I'd recorded. I didn't know if I was ever going to do anything with them. I didn't know if they'd ever see the light of day, but as you know, phones move on, you don't keep every video you ever record. But I thought these 4 videos, I want to at least store them. So I uploaded them to YouTube, but I kept them as private, and then shifted them to unlisted. Now the reason I moved them to unlisted is because I knew I wanted to share them. I didn't want to share them with everyone all at once initially, but friends at that time, as I was still ill, but I was recovering. I was doing a lot better, and friends that were reaching out to me at this point, nothing to do with me, all to do with how they were doing, and they were where I had been. They were really struggling. They were having huge difficulties with their mental health, and they didn't really know what was going on. They didn't really understand why they were feeling like they were feeling. And we would talk, we would chat, and they would be like, they would say to me, like, you seem to really have a good understanding of how I'm feeling. It's like you understand my feelings better than I do. At which point I thought, look, it's difficult to keep going in and going back over my story again and again and again. But actually, if I move the videos to unlisted, I can send the links to these people, a couple of friends of mine to begin with, um, and you know, they'll be able to see what I went through. And I suppose really I did it as a way to help them understand how I knew. Like, it wasn't magic. It wasn't just my own wonderful instincts that allowed me to see and understand how they were feeling. It was experience more so than anything. It was, I can see where you are because of where I've been, and you might not know where I've been, so here it is. And that's why they got shared. And then more recently, just before Christmas 2018, I shared them with another friend. Again, a friend experiencing some very, very difficult times right now, or right then, I should say. And the difference this time is that when I shared them with that person, for the first time in a couple of years, I actually watched them myself. I watched them back, and I saw where I was. I saw who I was at that time, and I could see that I was someone who wasn't on the precipice of depression, and they weren't coming out of their depression. They were in the eye of the storm. And at that moment, looking back and seeing an almost unrecognizable version of me, the most broken I've ever felt, and hopefully the most broken I'll ever feel, and yet somehow he's picked up a camera and is talking into it, and just in the vague hope of one day being able to help even one person. And there's a moment, I can't even remember which video, I think it might be the second one, but I'm not sure. I feel like I was sat on a sofa at the time, but I'm talking to the camera about wanting to help people, and I say something along the lines of, if I can help one person, it'll be worth it. But I hope it's not one person. I hope it's dozens of people. I hope it's hundreds of people. If they need the help, I hope that this can help them. And I realised in that moment, I was like, he, and it was myself, but I thought of it as he wanted to help people. And I've just sat on these videos, and I just realised in that moment that it was time. I was ready. I was strong enough to deal with whatever fallout would be, and I was hoping that if I shared them right then, while I was feeling positive, I was feeling confident, I was feeling ready for whatever might come from it, that was as good a time as any. So that's why I went public with them at the start of 2019. I switched all 4 videos to public, and then I started promoting as much as I could, just saying, look, here's some thoughts I've had. They're out there. Share them, watch them, respond to them, talk to me, talk to each other, but talk. And you guys did. You really did. There's been hundreds of views. There's been dozens of people who've reached out to me and contacted me. And the most amazing thing has been not just the people that have contacted me to say, wow, I watched your videos and thank you for recording them, or it meant so much to me, or it's really given me an understanding, or just, wow, I had no idea that that's what you'd gone through. Thanks for sharing. That's really brave. But people were also saying, I've shared your videos with some other people that I think will benefit from. I've watched them, and though the benefit to me was getting an insight into how you're feeling, actually I realised it could benefit someone else. And nearly, not all, but nearly everyone that said, I'm gonna share or ask for my permission. Can I share this with? It was nearly all, can I share it with this man in my life? Can I share it with this my male friend, my partner, my colleagues, my and the vast majority were men, because people seem to recognize that actually men need to talk more about mental health, and sometimes it's easier for a man to accept that he's going to have or may have to deal with mental health difficulties if he's hearing it from another man. And that really warmed my kind of my soul to an extent. It made me think, I'm no longer am I worried about putting these videos out, but I'm genuinely proud. And you guys out there, you did that. You did that for me. You took one of the hardest times I've ever gone through, and you've helped me turn it into something positive. And that's just amazing. So I do plan to record more. It's not going to be on a fixed schedule because I don't need that pressure. Um, but I do welcome thoughts, questions. I kind of already know the subject of a couple of the next episodes, as it were. I'm going to try and keep them around 15 to 18 minutes, no longer than that. Um, but yeah, there will be more to come, but I'm not putting a time limit on. But this episode basically is just thank you. Just thanks to everyone for helping me get myself to this point and helping make everything I've gone through somehow seem worth it.